So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this great day. It's the 17th of July 2025. It is a Thursday and it's looking really good out there. The weather is bright and early, and it's looking like we're going to have a little bit of sunshine today. Last week it was all cloudy and rainfall. This week has got a 50-50% fair share of sunshine and rainfall. I'm sure that's the kind of weather that everyone prays for, peaches for. But welcome everybody. Today we're just going to go straight into the headlines on the dailies, and thereafter we would also have you communicate with us if you've got that time to calling. I know it's a rush hour, so because it's rush hour, we're going to rush through some of the headlines that we are tracking for you from the daily newspapers and some visuals that Nigerians are basically reacting to as it relates to the politics. We begin on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. The Daily Trust's experts link FX stability, seasonal farming to inflation drop. Is inflation dropping really? Well, so many persons have attributed this inflation drop to the stability of the fuel pump price. Remember that the reason why we had this surge of prices of things going really up was because of the fact that the fuel subsidy was removed, and because of this removal of fuel subsidy, prices soared really high. I mean, things that were going for as low as 10 naira went as high as 25 naira. Because if you were buying fuel at 250 naira per liter and it was sold at 1,000 naira, you can imagine the amount of 100% that's on top of that that you're going to add to your cost of production, that would vehemently affect the prices of things. So it's part of the deal that I guess if we had the pump price reduced further, the cost of production would ultimately reduce, and then we can have some respite in that direction. Abducted Niger women return with pregnancies and babies. Whoa. Alleged 6.9 billion naira fraud. EFCC appeals Fayoshe's acquittal. EFCC is not letting go. They're appealing Fayoshe's acquittal. Yesterday, we saw Fayoshe having some drinks and some food with some workers at a site very close to the federal capital. I'm not too sure where that was, but I mean it was seemed to be a site workers. He was just excited, and he bought ambala for them. I'm sure he gave them some money. That after 7 years of being in court, he has been acquitted. The court actually said it's a no case submission. So EFCC is appealing that, and let's see how that goes. I don't know if you also noticed that ever since Fayoshe began to flourish with the president government, it does look like there has been some respite in that direction. I mean, how can you be in corruption case for 7 years, just about 7 years, and all of a sudden, the court is, saying that there's no case submission. And by the way, why should a court session or a court trial last up to 7 years? What exactly are they investigating for 7 years? It is that bad, and I think that we should check through that. Makinde Keyamo, others react as Atiku quits PDP. Indeed, Atiku quitting the PDP again for the options time. One would wonder, really, is it a mark of desperation or is it a mark of service? What exactly does Atiku want to come and serve? What does he what is he looking to come and do? Because over time we've seen people who have vehemently, wonderfully, fantastically, I should say, people who have, tried to rule Nigeria over and over again. The likes of Buhari, who just passed on and was buried a few days back. We've seen people who have that penchant for really wanting, by all means, to serve the nation, having to be clueless about governance, really. The best of him we had was as vice president under Obasanjo. So, and ever since 2003 or 2007, really, he has always tried to rule this country. And I really wonder what exactly is he looking to come and rule Nigeria for? And I'm really scared for somebody who's that desperate. I'm really scared for him, for a country who would accept and allow somebody like that, who has moved from one party to another in a bid to become Nigeria's president. I really don't know. I really don't know what he's looking for. 151 police officers before disciplinary panel over ethical violations and others, 34 sacked in 2 years. Something that everybody would like to see and see that it's really doing well. All right, let's see what we can do with the Punch newspaper this morning. On the Punch, 2027, Atiku's PDP exit sparks political firestorm. JAMB uncovers 9,460 illegal admissions in 20 tertiary institutions. Obasanjo Ayoku push for better leadership, new constitution. Obasanjo Ayoku push for better leadership and new constitution. Still on the Punch, CBN injects $4.1 billion to defend Naira as reserves decline. All right, we're still doing this. I thought that under Buhari, they said it was a really bad thing. They're going to float the Naira. So how come we're back to defending it? 2027 tensions. Buhari CPC bloc may dump APC. Some CPC chieftains likely to quit, but APC remains unshaken, says Shitu. Buhari's CPC bloc may dump APC. Some CPC chieftains likely to quit, but APC remains unshaken. Well, are you really sure that APC is remaining unshaken? Because Buhari brought that CPC bloc, and that CPC bloc used to have nothing short of between 6 and 12 million votes before the 2015 general elections. So let's see what happens. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, Shetima Atiku Obi attend Buhari's Fidel in Daura. Insurgency NAF to acquire 49 new fighter jets. 151 top police officers under investigation, says NPF. Fayose weeps as court clears ex-governor of 6.9 billion frauds. All right, it looks pretty good out there, doesn't it? It looks really pretty good out there. So for him, but the FCC is going for an appeal. We hope that something really comes out of the appeal. So whenever you know that they're saying they're going for appeal, it does look like everything is done and dusted and most likely settled. Shetima, Atiku, Obi, others attend prayer session for Buhari in Daura. Final rights holds today. PDP Atiku's exit means nothing, says Makinde. All right. Well, these are the people who are going to be eyeing the PDP ticket, the presidential ticket. I'm sure that Wike will be also thinking along that direction. If you watch me on my shorts yesterday, I made a point about Wike looking to take on the PDP tickets for the year 2027. I'm really sure about this one. I am hoping that I am I am meant to eat my words later, but Wike might most likely, because he's hungry for power and seeing that Atiku is who is the biggest threat for him is no longer there. The next thing we'll be thinking along the lines of say maybe it's about time to do the needful, which would be to grab the ticket, run with the ticket, most likely, anything is possible in politics. So do not underestimate some of these politicians. Quite an interesting set of people. Anyway, so moving over now, still to the other headlines of the Daily Sun. Calls for new constitution reverberates yet again. Anyoku Tamboa, Daniel Obi of Onisha, Ata others make case, call for urgent overhaul. Operators, nation's problem, says Obasanjo. All right, the operators are the major problems. Call for new constitution. How serious are these people? Because again, it's not even about that, but it's about how serious we are, because we've talked about a new constitution. In fact, we've even done the 2014 confab. I still ask myself, where is the 2024 2014 new confab, the resolutions? Where is it? Why have we not been able to implement, even not if not for anything, at least part of that particular resolution? Why have we not been able to do that? It's really sad. It's really sad. And still on the Daily Sun newspaper. Yes, the Daily Sun. Nigeria's oil production rises above OPEC quota. Alleged 6.9 billion naira fraud. EFCC to appeal Fayose's acquittal. Courts orders final forfeiture of 335 million naira. Hospital, 5 filling stations, others to federal government. Alleged 6.9 billion naira fraud. EFCC to appeal. Fayoshe's acquittal. Court orders final forfeiture of 335 million naira. Hospital, 5 filling stations, others to federal government. Okay, well, there are other things that they're able to grab from him. So, but they're talking about acquittal. Let's see how far that goes. UBA's LEO becomes Africa's first chatbot for cross-border transfers. UBA's Leo becomes Africa's first chatbot to cross-border transfers. That's an indigenous company doing great things. Why I can't forget Buhari, ex-EFCC boss Farida Waziri also coming to pay her final respects for the one and only Buhari, who passed on only a few days ago and has been laid to rest. And now over now to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian, we have this interesting headlines all scattered just below the masts this morning. Here we go with the Guardian. On the Guardian this morning, Ayoku Obasanjo differ on new constitution. Alleged 6.9 billion naira fraud. Court acquits discharges Fayoshe of money laundering. Plateau urges calm as Riam attack. Death toll rises to 32. Do we still have a governor in Plateau State? I mean, every now and then we hear some of these killings and it's quite mind-boggling. I just feel that somebody is not doing their job right. And in not doing their job right, it is just about time for us to get things going. I mean, get things going quickly, and quickly too, we must get things going, because I really don't know. If there's nothing that this guy can do about the killings in the state, I think he should first just resign that position, leave that seat, and let somebody who is competent enough see what they can do. It is just so unfortunate that Nigerian leaders will be so daringly unfortunate about doing certain things to take care of what we have, and we look where we are. Look where we are with these issues. It's crazy. Obi Atiku defend absence as Lukman flag shifts in endorsements. Obi Atiku defends absence as Lukman flags shift in endorsements. With the writer Tinubu showers praises to lead Buhari's tributes at FEC meeting today. Atiku's PDP exit letter aimed at stealing spotlight from Buhari's death, says Keyamo. Shatima leads Fidal prayers for former president in Daura. Chinese President Xi sends condolence message to Tinubu. Okay, Chinese President sends condolence to a message to Tinubu. All right, these are some of the headlines that are quite interesting out of the Guardian newspapers this morning. Still on the Guardian newspaper, CPPE advocates trade policy instruments to further ease inflation. Ocean residents raise concern over Adeleke Arabashola face-off. Party leaders unfazed as Atiku dumps PDP the third time. Federal government blames rising cases of cardiovascular diseases on high sodium intake. Okay, so if you are the type that take a lot of sodium, I think it's about time you reduce it because there's a warning on it. Huriwa, DSS ex-director dismissed Turkish envoy's alarm as political. Huriwa, DSS ex-director dismissed Turkish envoy's alarm as political. So what is the Turkish envoy alarm? All right, I think something that a lot of people want to know, so that they are also at alert in times like this. All right, we're moving now over to the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper has a screaming headline right in front of the masts. Let's see if we can grab a thing or two in that direction on the Nation this morning. Let's see what we have here. So here we go with the Nation here. Knocks for ex-VP Atiku after dumping PDP for the third time. I left because of irreconcilable differences. Exit is of no effect, says Makinde. OUBA transfers, trans-border payments now seamless. Fayoshe close to tears after acquittal by courts. Obasanjo Ayoko differ on need for new constitution. Oh well, here we go. We're already having some differences on the new constitution, and you know how this goes. When two big wigs in that stead start disagreeing on matter of principle or matter of issues like this, you still have people who would follow suit, and then it becomes a national discourse, and then it becomes an issue. So let's see what happens afterwards. After all, at the end of the day, we would always love to see, after the so-called back and forth, we would see something a little bit different from what we're used to. I mean, Nigeria is not the country that doesn't have a very good constitution or doesn't have a very good working documents for its people, but we have consistently been unable to implement what we already have. It's the players most of the time. If we are able to implement at the very minimum 50% of what we have in our constitution, I think we will be a lot better for it. But in a situation where we don't even know the extent of our constitution or what it contains about virtually most of the things, it becomes a very big problem, with implementation. And you wonder for yourself, those who are even the custodians of our constitution, who are our leaders, do they even know the extent? Do they even know the capabilities that they have in terms of implementing the policies and programs out of the constitution? You would think twice. Otudeko exits first holdco in 323 billion naira deal. Prayers for Buhari in Daura, Abuja. Affects extraordinary session for council chambers. Inflation drops for third time in a row. Federal government plans end to fish import. And by the way, let me say this. I just wanted to ask everybody, because again, it's all about the people out there. You must have to feel the impact of a policy for it to become something that is implementable. I mean, we don't turn on the radio, turn on the TV, turn on online platforms, or even get to newspapers and see that inflations are reducing. And right next door, the Gary we bought 2,500 for a penta yesterday is going for 2,700 or 2,800 or maybe even 3,000. So how is that inflation is actually reducing? Is that even possible? Is that what it should be? Of course, it shouldn't be. So I'm just saying, in true essence of the word, if any of all of these things are happening, it must be felt by the masses. In fact, the masses should be the one to speak on inflation much more than what the government or whatever anyone is writing from the comfort of their beds. All right, this is an interesting headlines. I hope you have had a good time having a field day with it. We all know that these are interesting times of our country. And so for you, what is your reactions, though? What is your reaction to Atiku's movement to the ADC?
whether we now and the last week
So I'm sure to stop
now we don't want anybody that party. Either one that party, then it's wrong to have talk for and this stop express. You don't want anybody and then you must talk to that party. You must talk to they talk about the party. See everybody on that on the back. Not that see the church aware.
Well, those who say, looking into their crystal balls, I mean, are they clairvoyants? But I would rather we're speaking on something else, and not this particular issue, considering the fact that this is a nation that is still in mourning, and the memories of the late President Muhammad Buhari, who was just interred yesterday, we're still trying to, live up to that. Well, those who say, looking into their crystal balls, I mean, are they clairvoyants? But I would rather we're speaking on something else, and not this particular issue, considering the fact that this is a nation that is still in mourning, and the memories of the late President Muhammad Buhari, who was just interred yesterday, we're still trying to, live up to that, reality. However, I mean, we're here because, people who never wished, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar well, leaked a communication of his.
Oh, it was leaked?
Oh, yes, they did. Because it's unfortunate that, the Minister of Aviation, who rather should be, concerned with serious issues of aviation matters, and there are plenty of them, runways and, better infrastructures, who will, jump into the phrase like knowing what caused an accident even before the investigation. So actually, they were the ones, rogue elements in the PDP working in cahoots with the, the APC, members who leaked, that communication. And that's why we're having this, conversation. And that's why I said I would rather we were talking, about something else and not this.
So Paul Ibe, speaking in defense of his boss, stating clearly that that particular document was leaked. I'm wondering, like, how was it leaked? If he had submitted the letter to the PDP in his ward in Adamawa State, how did he, the Minister for Aviation, got it? And I mean, when you say leaked, to what extent? I know some of the reasons why they are coming out to do this is because largely many people have knocked them out. That why would you be releasing such documents in the midst of Buhari's burial? Like, why would you want to steal the spotlight? I think Kayamo said something along those lines of, why are you trying to steal the spotlight where everybody is still mourning the former president who passed away and buried only the day before, and then all of a sudden you are releasing the documents, trying to steal the spotlight. So because of that, they came out and said that, oh, well, this document was leaked. It wasn't supposed to have been released. If you don't intend to release that document, how did it get to the ward? How did it get to PDP in the first place? That's actually my point. Sometimes when politicians want to gaslight you and do some dramatic move, they tend to turn the table a little bit and tell you, what, because they've seen that a lot of people may not go down well with, releasing the documents of that magnitude in the middle of this morning. They don't want to offend, especially the Northwesterners. And then they say, what, let's say it was leaked. Because, I mean, it was all over the place that the document is out there. So on what basis would you be saying that it was leaked? Is it not true that he wrote a letter? And why would that letter be dated 15th, just 2 days ago? In fact, it was even on the day that the Buhari was even still, being laid to rest. So it's neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what to think about it, but just let me know if you've got anything that is contrary to what I have just stated, or that I just thought that was what's happened in that regards. All right, let's move over to the next video, which is Peter Obi. Peter Obi answering questions as to why he did not show up at the day, on the day of the funeral itself. The day was actually on a Tuesday, and he says that a lot of things happened. So Let's see if we can listen in to him.
Of life, and like I said, I was opportune to meet him while I was campaigning. His sincere appeal that we should care for the poor. I've always maintained that Nigeria must care for the poor, invest in them, pull them out of poverty.
Is there any lesson to learn from his life by Nigerians?
I said it before, simplicity. Knowing just as his life is there, knowing that fully well, one day we'll go back to our Creator. So we have to do our own, and I believe that within his capacity, he contributed to a better Nigeria.
His love for the people, particularly for the downtrodden. Believing you need, there are very few leaders that can match it. Of course, needless for me to bore you with the fact that all the social interventions, it was
his simplicity is words that he's going to miss. He was not there for the very first day. I mean, a lot of persons went to the markets, speaking against Peter Obi, because again, any little things can be used against you in the bulk of opinions on social media. So Reno Mokri went out smoking with his thoughts and stating clearly that Peter Obi missed out on the burial funeral of President Buhari, and Tinubu. Peter Obi said he didn't have flight. There was no flight going into Katsina on that day, so he needed to be there the following day. And for crying out loud, when you are mourning somebody, you're not mourning somebody as to the immediacy of putting them into the grave. Yes, first of all, it's not in the immediacy of things, I should say. It's not like he was going to be the one to carry him into the grave. And this man lived a very good life, for crying out loud. We're talking about 82 years old. It's not like he lived a very bad life to say, okay, he died for very young and then it's so sober. I mean, when you live 82 up to 82 years old, it is something to be excited about, even in today's world. If you live up to 82 years with all of this economic downturn and problems that we have everywhere, I mean, for the Nigerian system, you really did well as far as everyone is concerned. So let's go to the next visuals that we have for you, and this one is not far-fetched from what we Nigerians are very much well used to. It's all about Fayose. Fayose was moved to tears yesterday when he was acquitted of a no-case situation against the EFCC after staying up to 7 straight years in that particular case. 7 years is a long time to think that, a particular trial, it will be on for that long. I mean, I just thought that our judicial system should do something about, especially issues related to money laundering. How on earth would it take up to 7 years? What are they investigating? I mean, with these days of technology, I mean, once you press 1 or 2 buttons, you're going to see where the monies went to. And if you want to recover, you recover it. If there are people who are in custody of the money, then you get them to return the monies, So he was just basically having fun with site workers. I don't know where this is, whether it's in Abuja or whether it is Ondo or Ogun states. Let's listen in.
To God. Yes. That's why we are celebrating with Amala.
yes.
Yes. Jesus Christ says, these ones are my family. These are my family members. These gentlemen here. We thank God for giving me victory after 7 years.
Thank God.
We give all the glory to God.
Thank you, Lord.
I hope you are enjoying your Amala.
Yes.
Enjoy it.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Adeleke Fayose acquitted of 6.9 billion naira fraud, money laundering fraud as governor. After 7 years of trial, I mean, it does look like he is left off the hook, but the EFCC is saying that they are going for an appeal. Well, we all know what happens with appeals these days. Everybody says they're going for an appeal, but all of a sudden, it's really sometimes doesn't come to fruition. But let's see, we'll keep an eye on that development and see what happens afterwards, because again, it is something to look out for. Let's see how much of that would really be appealed, because over time, when these guys say they are basically doing appeal for someone who has just been acquitted, it's just basically a thing of we've settled you, because I think they collected 5 petrol stations from him, they collected some lands from him, they collected a few things, a few properties from him. They got alleged, the EFCC alleged that it's his property. He acquired them while he was governor. So after collecting these things from him, what else are you looking to get him on the hook for? So and some people would also say that since he started frolicking with the PDP or the ruling party, the APC, there has been this subtle way of, he visited Tinubu when he came for Salah break in Lagos. He has also been seen around the circles of the presidential villa. So who knows? He's trying to go and appeal his own case. And of course, he's a friend to the one and only Wike, the FCT minister, who is a master of court dribbles, if you ask me. So you never can tell whether he may have used those paraphernalia in putting his matter to bed. Let's listen to the next video, watch it, and it's from Channels Television. It's Omishore basically saying that Adeleke, who is the current governor of Washington State, is now begging to be in the APC because he feels that the state is going APC. If he goes that way, the way he is to the PDP, it does look like he might most likely fall like a pack of cards. He will not be able to fight the federal government and the federal mind. So the only thing for him to do is to see if he can defect to the APC. And so if he defects to the APC, it means that APC is really, is 100%, Southwest is 100% APC. And so you also have South, apart from Rivers, that's still under contention with also 500 or so. So you are looking at a number of things that are happening at the same time where, you cannot really tell what's going to happen.
Other parties will always have issues, but they came. Immediately after that election, the prayer election came. APC, we actually 48,000 votes. PDP has 357,000 votes, 1.42% difference. So what are they bringing to the party? Nothing. So if as a governor, if you are popular in your party, you are popular enough, go and take a new party. Look at Governor Ojikalu in 2027. He went for PPA. He won for that state. The governor of Abia now, he left APC, took a new party and won for that place. Why must you want to force yourself into the party? I've never seen a governor begging to enter party in my life. This is what I'm saying. Struggling. He's struggling, begging, fighting. To get to that party.
I thought he's being courted by members of the party. There was a meeting that we saw. His older brother, the businessman, Davido's father, and himself met with the president in Lagos. And do you think that is begging?
They've been meeting the president. They met him as some few people after the president chair. They even met Dakabedu. They contacted him to bring him to the party. That's one of Ogun State. So they are struggling. I've not seen a situation where a state governor is strong to enter another party. One, the party is not popular in that state anymore. Half of the party members have moved to APC. So he's just trying to find somewhere to stay. Now, electoral factor, they moved to ADC now. So it's already an orphan. So APC now, we don't want anybody in that party. If they are coming to that party, then they should come home and talk to us.
But can you stop anybody from joining your party?
You can't stop anybody. I said that. If you must come to that party, if you must come to APC, then you come home, we talk about the party. We put everything on the ground to talk about. Not that the national chairman said he's not aware. The state chairman is not aware. We have that caucus in Osun State. None of us were aware.
Okay, so there we go. Omishore is saying that Adeleke is a political orphan, given that he's begging to be in the APC, that he's never seen that kind of thing before, where a sitting governor is actually begging to be on the party. I think it's more like the other way around. Because for me, I mean, the the party, it's a plus for the party. The party doesn't have to fight so much to gain the states, if at all they go for an election. I mean, you can't be. It is a fair game if they get him into the party and then he works for the party, because the plan is also to win the 2027 elections. So if it happens that he defects to the APC, so it's one less headache for the APC. So APC looks out for other zones that may not have had their party or their states become the APC. So they work towards it instead of saying that it's a political offer. And I know these are in the realm of politics, and in politics you throw everything at anyone in order to get some things. He's the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, and quite frankly, National Secretary, of the APC. So quite frankly, he's also looking for some sort of gain. And like I've always said, that if and say for instance he's in the PDP, right? He's moving to the APC. You don't expect that those who are in the PDP that he is going to leave from are going to stay in the PDP. They're going to move with him. He's going to be moving with the entire PDP structure. So when they move to the APC, there's always a problem because they get to be displaced. The people who are in the APC already will be displaced. Those who are the chairman, the vice chairman, the secretaries, the ward chairmen, the chairman of the local government, everybody will be most likely to be displaced. Because if you are telling me to leave my old party to get into a new party, you are going to promise me that the same position, at least the very minimum, the same position that I held in this other party is the same position I'm going to be holding. So are you going to displace those people who are there? So how do you discuss it? Are you going to have two chairmen? These are the major issues, and that's the issue that Delta State is facing today. There are people who are in the APC who feel displaced, and I hear that they might most likely move their structure to the ADC because they have been displaced of the position. Since the governor over changed party from PDP to the APC, it has been problem because the governor insists on working with the people he had known from the PDP. So it becomes an issue of where to go and where not to go. So it has the same thing that's going to play out in Osun State. And because Osun State has been in turmoil lately, this party politics has been in their turmoil. So merging them together and having an agreement of some sorts will mean that people will be displaced from the position. And to what extent will people be allowed, to get displaced without anything to it? That kind of thing. Everybody wants something at the end of the day. So if nothing is coming, why should they accept to be displaced? So those are some of the issues that we're seeing that might be a bigger problem. So let's listen to this final visual, which is coming from one political analyst, who basically raged about Buhari's administration, that he was sold to the Nigerian populace as somebody who was honest, but internally he was terribly dishonest. This particular thought would shock you. I was thinking that somebody who dies, you're going to, eulogize him. Nigerians have no chills about, Buhari, because during his time, quite frankly, the country began to nosedive since 2015 he took over office. Watch this.
Buhari's, former President Buhari's real legacy.
He was marketed as an honest man, and but when Buhari was now given governance, Buhari proved to be fundamentally a dishonest man. He was deceitful, and if you ask me, I would say he was irredeemably incompetent in managing Nigeria's diversity. One, the biggest legacy of Buhari is that Buhari was the first Nigerian leader who embraced and employed nepotism, weaponized it. The biggest I remember was him allowing foreigners to come in from Mali, from Mauritania, from Central African Republic, from Burkina Faso, and kill Nigerians. That's why in his home state, in Katsina, where Hausas are about 87% of the population, the Hausas were jubilating as he died. Same thing in Kano. Why? Hausas were being massacred in Sapana, in Dutsima, in Kankara, in Emusa. A lot of them you see killing Nigerians, even in the Benue Valley, in Plateau, they don't speak English. They don't speak Hausa. They spoke Bambara and French. When you ask Buhari, he will say, I'm not aware. But it is Buhari that forced the army to look the other way.
Well, this guy had no chills against the the late Buhari. I mean, he went all out, bombing from all direction. But there's largely the things that he said that were wrong, really. I mean, if you were to be honest, quite frankly, you can differ if you will. I mean, that's the country we live in. It's okay to differ. But let me know what you think in all of the stories that we've put out for you this morning, from the newspaper headlines and reviews, and of course, to your reactions. From yesterday, we've been talking about Atiku's defection. Even though he hasn't announced the new party, we all know that he's going to be the ADC or the Action Alliance, or the Alliance for Democratic, coalition or something. I mean, there are different parties, and he's also circumspect. He's asked Peter Obi to leave the Labour Party so that he can focus on one. And Peter Obi is also skeptical about leaving the Labour Party, given that he's not 100% sure about getting the ticket for the ADC, because if he doesn't get it, so what happens to him? So it's going to be quite an interesting few months ahead of us, because it's going to be dramatic. We're counting less than 1 year, 7 months to that general elections that is built for February 2027. So everyone is pitching their tents, is looking for some sort of direction of what to do and what not to do, and making sure that they don't play into the hands of the enemy at the end of the day. But again, let us know what you think. As always, it's 8:14 in the morning. I appreciate every one of you being part of the program. Remember, this is a hub for everything breaking news. All right? Breaking news from anywhere and everywhere around the world. And because it's breaking, it's for you. I would also tell you that as it is breaking, as long as we know about it, we're going to get it across to you. All right? Any time of the day, in fact, it could be midday, it could be 10 a.m. In fact, I could leave this set right now, and something is breaking, and guess what? I would have to return back to give you the news and then to have your reaction. So that's how this platform would work all day, all night long. It will be continuous, and I hope that you join us in shaping our country to be a better place, to be a better nation for everyone and for everybody, as the case may be. My name is Charles. I appreciate you. And remember, you can reach us with those numbers. Call, send a text, tell us something is happening from where you are. Send us videos on our WhatsApp. That number is also on WhatsApp. And let us know what's going on in your area. And let's break the news for you here. Let's bring it up to speed when there is anything. What I mean, anything. It could be somebody beating somebody in your street. It could be, we want to go that local. It could be maybe an accident you want to call the attention of the government on. We would bring it to the fore. It's something that we would like to put out for you. All right. Thank you again for your time. Appreciate you for being part of the broadcast. We're back again shortly. I'm Charles. Have yourself